Hello, and welcome back to Space Engineers on the Xbox, on the Series X, for another tutorial video demystifying the blocks from the Automatons update. This is all about drones again, as it would be with the Automatons update, but this one is a quick one focused on making a drone that can wander from a home point. So what we'll need is a few batteries, a little platform, and a beacon, which we have here. And you can interact with the battery on the terminal there with X, and just make sure that your beacon is named something like Beacon Home. And with that, you have all that you need to start with. So we're going to need a drone. Well, first things first, we're going to build it on small grid. So we pop open the build menu with the left stick, clicked in, and choose a rotor. Drop the rotor down, and I'm playing in creative as I always do when I do these videos. Grind off the rotor head, and you can either stick a terminal down again or go to the terminal on the battery, click it open, go to your rotor. You don't need share inertia tensor. Just pop the rotor lock on and then add a small head. This will give us a platform to build our little drone on. And so start off with your light armor blocks, and I'm building in line mode in creative, and how to change the modes is something that I've covered in the past, but I'll go over it again. Click in the right stick and you'll see you open up your GUI, your GUI, and you can go to build, and you can go here and you can toggle multi-block building line, and each time you tap in the right bumper or R1 on your PlayStation controller, if I remember rightly, it's been a while since I've handled one of those, you will toggle your multi-block building to line, plain, or single block. When we want line, and then let it go on the left stick and confirm. And that's how you change your build mode when you're in creative. If you're in survival and you want to use creative, you hold down the right bumper, you press in Y, and you just choose admin tools, and in here you can enable creative mode tools. It will completely cheat the game for you, but that's up to you. That's what it's there for. So we have a platform, we need power, and since we're not really bothered, we'll use batteries. And we'll do a little drone platform, since I want, let's go for excuse me, moving slightly out of the way there. There we go. We can drag these as a line. If we do a 3x3, there. So we have to determine which way we want the drone to face. Well, it's looking at me like this, so I'm thinking that's going to be the front of the drone. What we need for any ship/drone in Space Engineers is a gyroscope, and so we can pop this gyroscope down. Now if you look at the gyroscope, you'll see on its orientation that the small grid doesn't really appear different, apart from the front, I believe, and the back. I think this is the front, but I've found it doesn't often matter when you're doing something like this. We'll pop a gyroscope down. So we've got power, and now we need thrust. Again, we're not doing anything major with this drone, so we're just going to give it four thrusters for the lift, just one on each corner. I think that's a bit too high. No, that's spot on. And so on. So we've got lift. We don't want to cut our drone free yet because we don't have any equal thrust. If we knock it, it's going to start moving in weird ways. So next to this, we're going to give it some downforce. I'm going to give it 4 of these, like so. And then we're going to make it so that it can move backwards and forwards, but we're only going to give it 2 of these either way on this, like so. And finally, it needs to go left to right. And since, again, it's not doing anything too strenuous, we're just going to give it 2 thrusters like that. Now, as always, when playing in creative mode, if you want to make sure you don't have a problem, just both bumpers, X, A, and you'll quick save. Then you can recover from a mistake or problem. Now we're going to put our AI blocks on, and what we need here, always, you're going to need an AI flight move like this. If we just bring it round so you can see it a bit better, you can see it has right, left, rear panel and front. So this is the way we want it to fly. So we put it down like so. We also need a basic task block, not a recorder, but a basic task. Now the orientation on this doesn't matter, but I always like to put the little flag facing the flight block. Right, that is pretty much our drone complete, only not quite yet. And while it's still attached, we want to make some settings. So let's have a look. Let's go to our AI basic task first. And we want our AI behavior off for the time being. We don't want it following us though. We want to change it to follow home. And we want its beacon list activated to beacon home. And we use the left stick to move up and down on this because we want to maintain that connection to the beacon. If you use the D-pad, it will remove that beacon as its position. So its minimum range from home, let's say we want it to wander 20 meters. Its maximum range from home, we'll say we'll have at about 100 meters, and we want it to wander when idle. Now that's set. Move the left stick across to the left panel and choose the flight move block. Here we want collision avoidance on for the time being, unless things cause a problem. Precision mode, well, we're not really using waypoints, but you can turn it on just in case you change things. Its speed limit is 10, is fine. Its minimum altitude, we're going to change to about 50 or so meters. Align it to P gravity, and to turn this all the way down to max pitch and roll to 0. And then we're going to just jump out of this. Again, we're going to save, and we're going to come back here. And when you're dealing with drones like this, it's wise to give yourself just a little bit of control over them until you're happy with how they work. So pick the control seat that you want. I mean, you can slap a saddle cockpit on it if you want, like so. And this just gives you a little bit of actual control. As you can see, it won't do anything because we have it on our connection. The reason we're using the rotor trick is that this is transferring power from the batteries to the grid if we were in survival, or if we had reactors or wind turbines. So now, with that set, we can do a couple of things. One is that we can have on the D-pad our 2 blocks, AI basic task, AI behavior on off, and under down on the D-pad by holding down the direction and choosing the block, the flight move, AI behavior on off. We can set both of those. Moving swiftly on to the next thing, we're going to cut our drone free and hope that it doesn't come crashing down. So choose our light armor block, left trigger in, come down midway, and we now have a free drone. Now these drones can be used to mount weapons platforms, or if you have a base and you want some illumination at night, you could simply pop on some. Let's have a look what we've got. Yeah, let's try this. Just for fun. We're going to put 3 lines of lights. And we can adjust all those lights in their intensity and brightness. Off on the control panel, you'll see all the lights. And if you want to do all the lights, just click in the search box, type light, and you'll see your light panels. Press A, and just for safety's sake, hold down the right bumper or R1, hold down your A button and the appropriate PlayStation control, I think it's X, and select all that and just call it lights. And as always, as I reiterate, use the left stick to move from panel to panel and the D-pad to go between sections on a panel, apart from when choosing the beacon as home. That tends to break that particular functionality. Click save, and then we can add our group, lights toggle block on off, and we can turn the lights on and off. So now we've got that, in theory our drone should be ready to go. So it may play up a little to begin with as it calculates its environment, attempts to avoid any grids. So first of all, we turn on the one and we turn on the other. This should go up to about 50 or so meters, and it should wander when idle. It might sit over the base for a short while as it attempts to find a safe place to avoid grids. This is what happens when you have collision avoidance on. And this is, again, one of the, I won't say shortcomings, it's one of the features of the Grid AI, the automatons update. But once it's happy with where it is, you'll start to see that your grid is going to move. And now we've got our lights group. If we go back to our lights group in our control panel, scoot all the way to the top where the lights are, click that, you can see that we can do a radius. So we're going to push that all the way to the top, and we're going to give it a massive intensity. We're going to come out of there. We're going to leave the saddle cockpit. We're going to let this do its thing, like so. And then we are going to change the time of day, like so. And you'll probably want to bring the drone down lower than it is, but you can see that it is wandering around our home location, our beacon, providing a point. It could be a point defense drone. Like I said, you could have turrets on it. You can link it up with the AI offensive, the AI defensive block. You can make it more complex by putting a task recorder on if you're playing in survival, so that when these batteries as a whole all reach critical condition, it can scoot off to a connector, land, recharge, and when fully recharged using the event controller, it could then take off again. That's quite complex though, and you'd have to put all the things I've shown so far into practice to do it. But this is a very basic look at our system to make a wandering drone, and if you're having problems tracking onto something like this, point at it, hold both bumpers, tap Y, and you'll put your suit's dampeners onto automatic. They will auto follow any grid. So just jump back into the saddle here. And how I'm changing the camera angle is the right bumper and pushing up on the D-pad. So that really is it, apart from if you want to change any of the settings, my advice, turn off both of the AI, go into the control panel and just fiddle about with the settings. So for instance, if we wanted to make our drone come down a little more, so instead of 50, let's say we wanted it at about 25 meters. We do that, come out of it, put this back on, and eventually when the drone gets down to its AI, it will start dropping in height. You'll see 49 meters as it recalculates things and starts working again. Here we go. So it's coming down now to 25 or so meters. It's got collision avoidance on, so it's going to attempt to avoid grids. Again, you want to turn that off. Go to your AI, and you don't even need to shut the AI off for this one. You can just turn collision avoidance off, and it will tootle away, but it will ram into any grids that get in its way. And there you are. That is your basic wandering drone that can wander around a GPS point or a home beacon. And if it's a home beacon, remember that beacons can be placed on ships, and so you could have a little patrol running around. Anyway, that's all time I've got really. We've been going for almost 20 minutes, so thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Your support means a great deal to me, and it's great to see our PlayStation brethren enter the Space Engineers family. And we've restructured the Facebook group and the Discord so that now it is the Xbox and PlayStation Space Engineers community. So you are more than welcome, if you're playing on the PlayStation, to swing by on Facebook, and I'll leave a link to both the Facebook group and the Discord in the description of this video. Take care, stay safe, have fun, enjoy the game. Loads more to come from me and loads more to come from Keen Software themselves, as this is the tip of the iceberg for the Automatons update. What I will say is that I am going to do the next video on something I did in the beta, which was using the event controller to create a proper airlock. I'll be using the red ship again, as I did in the beta, but I will be showing you how to do this on vanilla Space Engineers fairly soon. Until then though, bye for now.